Yes. So I will give you two things.
Okay.
One is based on everything that I just described as a leader, supervisor, or manager, or even just a parent, because this works with toddlers too. The question, when you're looking out at them or looking at the trouble or the stuff that's coming, the question is not what's wrong with them. The question is what has happened to them. That will change the way you approach them, because that question changes the way your nervous system fires. You have a more curious vibe. And because you're not looking for what's wrong with them, you're not offering the fix that's just going to stress them out more. You're just wondering what has happened to them. That changes the conversation from the get-go. And then what might be helpful for you, because I've now explained some of this stuff for you, we didn't go into this. I'm doing this at a conference tomorrow. I have this thing that I call my magical compass of stress navigation. It's just based on the 3 universal triggers of stress. And again, this is another way to change the conversation and to remove the stigma from the conversation. Here's the 3 universal triggers of stress. You know what? Do I even have it here for you? If you want a screenshot of it, would you like that? Let me find it here. Hold on. I will open, there we go. I'm going to open something here and share it with you, and then I'll explain it. Because if you like this, then you can grab a screenshot.
I will dutifully try to make this a vignette to share on the YouTube channel.
Sure. So here, I'm just going to share a screen of a different presentation now, and then you can take a screenshot of this if you want. Here it is. I had my designer do this up for me. I'm going to explain this to you and how this can help you as a leader or a parent, because this works with my little kid too. Okay, got it? 3 universal triggers of stress are loss of or uncertainty, lack of information, and loss of control. So let's say, and you can do this without this, but just imagine how this would go. So let's say you and the team have had the stress management session with me or whatever it is, and we've all talked about this, and everyone knows what this is. And you put this sign up in the office, or you have it opposite from your desk on the wall, and then someone's here sitting for you. When people understand the difference between an illness and an injury, and it's easier to talk about this stuff, and something's going on in their lives, whether it's personal or at work or whatever it is that they're coming to you with, you create a very different, more productive atmosphere when you approach it in the non-triggering, non-narrative, no story attached to it way of the 3 universal triggers of stress. Because the question is, if it's an office and everyone kind of gets along and they're having fun, I sometimes will give this assignment, when someone's looking stressed out, and you can frame it of, okay, so what has happened to them, not what's wrong with them, or there's something wrong. So what's happened to them? Then you shift the vibe. This is neuroscience stuff that we won't get into, but you do shift how your nervous system is functioning. So your vibe changes to curiosity. And then you say to them, so which of the 3 universal triggers of stress are you experiencing right now? And can I help you with any of them? Can you see how that is such a different way that you've never heard of before to approach these things? It's like, which of the 3 universal triggers of stress can I maybe help you with right now? Is there some kind of certainty, work related, or something that I can help you with? Can I help you with some kind of control in some way, or whatever it is? And, or is there some information that I might have that could help you? Because even before you have helped them with any of those things, you have already created empathy, which their nervous system goes from sympathetic over to parasympathetic. The blood flow returns to the front part of their rational thinking brain, and they're now able to have a productive conversation with you. And you didn't even
also, even with your coworkers, you may not be a manager, a coworker or someone you may know, you can then identify that they may not say they're stressed, but you can identify that, if you know what something happened, maybe they loss of control, maybe they lost a sale, maybe lack of information, something, one of those 3 things, you're like, okay, this person's in a stressful situation. I know what happened to them, but they don't have to tell me I'm stressed out, or they're just quiet about it. But there's if that may help subsequent conversations.
Yeah, it does. And when everyone on the floor has, you know, the same language on that, and they start to use that language, it also becomes a little bit funny. Nothing moves you out of the stress response like a little bit of humor, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm totally in a stress response right now. I need to do something to move me over into the parasympathetic side, or whatever the words are that they use for it. This kind of stuff literally can transform a group, because this bleeds, not even bleeds, this just automatically translates into their home life, into their 3-year-old, where they're literally starting to understand the neurobiology of this 3-year-old, not what's wrong with them or they're doing something wrong. It's like, what has happened that has put them in a stress response? How can I give them certainty, information, or some kind of control where I'm still the boss to move them out of their stress response so that they have access to their rational brain, which is not fully developed, and I shouldn't think that it is, right? It changes parenting. I have had the easiest time with my kid because of these things, because I know where her brain development is and I don't expect her to be an adult. And I know how to quell the 3 universal triggers of stress for her without spoiling or making her, you know, bossy and stuff like that. Because when you work with the nervous system, the kid has a healthy nervous system, you're not going to have behavioral problems, likely. There's always extremes. I'm not talking about, you know, some of the cognitive and actual, you know, stuff that's out there and the conditions. But if you have a healthy kid and you are focusing on helping their nervous system develop properly, and if you're a leader or you even just have colleagues and you're in a group, you know that half the time you're actually dealing with a triggered 7-year-old when someone's being unreasonable, even though they're an adult, because of that trauma thing I talked about in the brain. The person in the grip of all distress reverts back to whatever that thing happened and loses some of their rational thinking. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. I'm sure that you will go through the week and think about a lot of this stuff, and it will probably change the way you see people. So I hope that it does.